RFK Jr. is not the only Kennedy making news this week, so is his daughter. Kit Kennedy, who is one of the daughters of RFK Jr., has apparently been spending time with newly single Ben Affleck. Some people are confused about her name, Kik, and this seems like the perfect opportunity to discuss the Kennedys and the Fitzgerald. Yes, I have been Doris Kearns Goodwin pilled since 8th grade. This video is only going to look at some of the tragedies that have befallen the Fitzgeralds and the Kennedys. This isn't about anyone's political leanings or sympathies, just FYI. Let's kick things off with the woman who Kik Kennedy was named for, great aunt Kathleen Kik Kennedy. She was given the nickname Kik because she was vivacious, full of life, always moving. Kik was 4th out of the 9 Kennedy children. She was the 2nd daughter. May of 1944, Kathleen marries into British aristocracy. She marries the Marquis William Cavendish. Now, 4 weeks after their wedding, he is called up to serve in the British Army. Remember, World War II is going on right now. He is killed in action in September of 1944. 4 years later, in May of 1948, Kathleen Kennedy dies in a plane crash. This is not the only plane crash related death in the 1940s for the Kennedy family. Before we get into that, we are going to go back to Rosanna Fitzgerald. She was the great grandmother of JFK Jr. She died suddenly when she heard a rumor that her entire family had been killed in a train wreck on the way to a Sunday school picnic. That ended up being not true. Rosanna's daughter, Rose, ends up marrying Joseph Patrick Kennedy Sr. God, the way I want to go in on his ass, but I won't right now. Their eldest son is Joseph Kennedy Jr. This was the Kennedy that Joseph Sr. was grooming to go into politics. This was the presidency. But that doesn't happen because Joe Jr. volunteers as a Navy flyer in World War II. He ends up dying in a plane crash during military combat on August 12, 1944. So in the span of 4 years, they lose 2 of their 9 children. And basically a 3rd child, because in 1941, Rosemary Kennedy, who they had some issues when Rose was giving birth, she got stuck in the canal, pretty obviously had intellectual disabilities. So Joseph Sr., without telling Rose Fitzgerald, who probably wouldn't have had a say anyway, let's be honest, he takes his daughter to have a lobotomy, which is a very new procedure, and it's very clear immediately that it goes wrong. The procedure left her permanently incapacitated. So she was sent to a school for exceptional children in Jefferson, Wisconsin, where she would live for the rest of her life. Seeing what happened to her sister is a big reason that her younger sister, Eunice, became involved in the Special Olympics. So that's the 1940s. Once Joseph Patrick Kennedy Jr. has been killed in action, the baton for going into politics and becoming president is passed on to JFK Jr. Works out, and he becomes our first Catholic president. JFK marries Jackie. They go on to have 3 children. One of those children is born while he is serving as president. That child is Patrick. He sadly passes away in infancy on August 9th, 1963. What happens a couple months later? On November 22nd, 1963, JFK is assassinated while in Dallas, Texas. In June of 1968, just months after announcing his candidacy for president of the Democratic ticket, Bobby Kennedy, who is RFK Jr.'s father, was assassinated. In the Ben Affleck universe, Bobby Kennedy is Kik Kennedy's grandfather. Since the 1990s, there have been several Kennedys whose lives have been cut short. One of the more recent ones was Maeve and her son. That would be Robert Kennedy's granddaughter. They went to go look for a ball in the Chesapeake Bay, popped in a canoe, were never found. The most talked about death of the 1990s was, of course, JFK Jr. The plane that Kennedy was flying crashed off of the coast of Martha's Vineyard, killing himself, his wife Carolyn, and Carolyn's sister. Quick little Cape Cod geography lesson. Cape Cod is the arm of Massachusetts, and the 2 islands, Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, are right there underneath it. Hyannis is roughly around here, and that's where the Kennedys have their compound, which became a national landmark in 1972. What is wild is that RFK Jr., when he was still running for president, auctioned off a compound clam bake and sunset sail. I'm here to tell you right now, I don't know if there's a curse, but I am not getting on any modes of transportation with a Kennedy. And we did not even have time to discuss Chappaquiddick and Ted Kennedy. So there's a little Kennedy family history to go along with your Ben Affleck, Kik Kennedy gossip. I will say, for a man from Boston, Dunkin' Donuts, potentially dating a Kennedy, I feel like the only thing he's missing is owning a part of the Red Sox, and he's really hit the trifecta in terms of the holy trinity of Boston.